Welcome everyone to our Gender, Women's Suffrage, and Political Power Conference. My name is Lisa Fine, and I am the chair of the Department of History here at Michigan State University and one of the three co-hosts of this conference.
My name is Stephanie Nawyn. I am one of the other co-hosts and the co-director of academic programs at the Center for Gender in Global Context.
We have been planning this conference for a long time. Little did we know when we had our first planning session that we would have to pivot to this online platform. I'm delighted that we were able to adapt and to provide you with this important and historic commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the passage of the suffrage amendment. This conference is historic, not only because it will critically explore this important and fraught political development, but also because this conference marks the 30th anniversary of a previous Women's and Gender Studies conference that I helped to organize. In early 1990, many of us in the Women's Studies at MSU, the Women's Studies program at Michigan State University, sought to make a bold statement of women's studies' arrival and importance by organizing a conference to showcase the work of women and gender studies scholars in all disciplines at Michigan State University and beyond. The conference took place in April of 1990, and it was called Revisioning Knowledge and the Curriculum, Feminist Perspectives. I worked with my colleagues in women's studies, Professor Kathleen Geisler, Joyce Ladenson, who was the director at the time, and Mary Anderson to create this event that brought over 800 participants from all over the world for 60 panels to East Lansing. We engaged Michigan State University administrators and local K through 12 teachers and featured four esteemed keynote speakers: Bonnie Thornton-Dill, Carol Gilligan, Ruth Hubbard, and Catherine Stimson, who at the time was the editor of Science. There was socializing, art, theater, music, and receptions. It was a party, but more importantly, we felt that there could be no doubt now that women's studies was here to stay. Noteworthy papers were published in a volume several years later. As a historian, I should have known, however, that history is rarely progressive. Significant change occurs in fits and starts. And in the 30 years since this last conference, progress has been made, and this conference and the scholarly sophistication of the work that will be presented itself is proof of that. But we are far from done. Our new vice president-elect, Kamala Harris, hooray, 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 recently noted that she may be the first woman and woman of color to assume her position, but she won't be the last. Fits and starts and firsts are all important, but continuing the fight is key to change. This conference reaffirms women and gender studies at Michigan State University in a powerful and meaningful way. Welcome, and thank you all for joining us in this work.
And we want to acknowledge our co-host for this conference, the Institute for Research on Women and Gender at the University of Michigan, and their director, Anna Kirkland, interim director, Jocelyn Stitt, and their events coordinator, Heidi Bennett. I also want to thank our many sponsors who've provided support for the conference: Michigan Women Forward, Michigan Women's Commission, Vote, Run, Lead, many units at Michigan State University, the Michael and Elaine Serling Institute for Jewish Studies and Modern Israel, the African Studies Center, the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, James Madison College, Muslim Studies Program, the Asian Studies Center, and the Michigan State University College of Law. I also want to thank at the University of Michigan, the Department of History, and the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy. Of course, I also want to give a shout out to our committee members who have been working for close to 18 months now to put this conference on. That is Naoko Wake, Kirsten from English, LaShawn Harris, Emily Conroy-Kretz, Helen Veit, Lucy Thompson, Emily Kahn, Wenda Bauschbies, Katie Knowles, and our GenCen interns, Katie Pollitt and Ginny Lindberg. We think of this conference as the culmination of not only our work, but of the organizing, the activism, and the knowledge production of the people participating in this conference and all of those who came before us. While this particular moment in time is filled with uncertainty, it is also ripe with possibilities for creating a better world. We hope you will bring your energy, curiosity, and ideas to this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us.